Kia ora, humanimals. Now, this is just a conversation, it's just a little chat, and it's not intended to upset anybody, any humanimals that might have been freaked out in the past by the Mandela Effect, might have had some very strange experiences to do with their memory, and who may have more than just a passing interest or a, that's curious and funny interest in the Mandela Effect, okay? But I'm going to tell you what I think about it and what I think it is, and also I'm going to tell you why I am so fantastically against it and against the propagation of the idea of the Mandela Effect. So you've all probably heard of evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins, and Richard Dawkins, I think the etymology of the word meme began in 1976, but in 1979 Richard wrote a really amazing book called The Selfish Gene. If you haven't read it, give it a whirl. Download it on your Kindle or go to a library, or if you can afford it, purchase it on Amazon or something, because it's worth it. Now, gene. Okay, the genes. We know about genes. We know genes are how DNA replicates, and Richard wanted a word that describes to people and helps explain to people another phenomenon of replication, okay? And that is the phenomenon or the replication of culture, cultural ideas, of things like behavior, fashion, beliefs, crazes, etc. Okay, so actually you probably wonder how he came up with that name too. You've got, gene, Gene, and then you've got meme, which is Meme, and it's from, I think it's Greek. It's from Greek, memema, and he's taken memema to imitate and made meme. A lot of you might think that a meme is what you now know of as an internet meme. And, Dawkins disputes that they are correlated perfectly. They're absolutely not. They have different meaning, but it's just that the word meme usefully describes this thing about the passing on of ideas, except with internet memes there is unnatural selection because people are putting their own words, making their own tweaks to things. But interestingly, they are spread the same way and with the same tool and with the same dangerous speed as the Mandela Effect examples. And technology is very dangerous and is not always used for good. And it's not to say that everybody that propagates Mandela Effect how can I say it? Let me just pause for a minute. Sorry, every time there's a big noisy boat or something like that, I'll pause. So the Mandela Effect is a tool. A meme is it's a natural selection way that spreads ideas through human culture, okay? And it's how things pass on. And, you know, the scary thing about memes are, you know how I say, you know, around the world in 80 seconds. These fake facts, these lies, these rumours, the gossip that, you know, people write onto Facebook groups, make videos about, put in comments on YouTube, put on their Instagram, whatever it is. It's around the world in 80 seconds and too damn late. And you then get people repeating it or spreading it maliciously, using it for their own nefarious reasons. And that's what the Mandela Effect is as well. It's a powerful tool for spreading misinformation. It creates unrest. It implants false memories. And we really must fight. Just like any activist, we must fight negative cultural phenomenon. There's Poe's law that it's impossible to tell. Sometimes it's impossible to tell the difference between satire and extremism. And sometimes things that people are saying are the Mandela Effect. It's begun out of satire, but it's turning into a tool for extremism. It's turning into a tool for weakening the human mind, for breaking human bonds, for breaking down human identity, for breaking down the very faith that you can have in your own world, in your own mind. I always say this, you know, when I talk up against psychic mediumship or anything like that, I'm wholly not against the paranormal. I love phenomenon. I love the idea of mystery. This world is a mystery. This universe is a mystery. We don't know what our reality really is. We truly don't. You know, okay, let's say Mandela Effect is something to do with not just parallel universes, but a simulation. How do you know you would come out of the simulation with your awareness as human? And, you know, and physics would probably tell you, I don't know, physicists would probably tell you if you're going to make it out of one simulation, the likelihood is that you're going to be going into another one anyway. But what am I saying? What am I saying? Yeah, I don't want to just start getting on a rant, which I always do. But, you know, I think it's important to know that the Mandela Effect, when you're not just using it just for fun, that you realize how dangerous it is, because it undermines faith, trust, etc. Now, memes and technology have kind of come together to make it possible for people to believe in the Mandela Effect, okay? So, I think some workers are going to start making some noise down here on the workway. I don't know, I might need to leave. They're giving me cheesy grins because I'm sitting here talking to myself. Oh no, they're going on. All right. Okay, so when people who are already disenfranchised or upset or separate somehow from life, when they're already anxious, when they're already concerned, questioning, etc. It is very easy to get inside these people's heads. It's very easy to have them dig into an idea to such an extent that they no longer have any capability of perspective, and they can't intellectually analyze their beliefs, because they don't want to. It becomes too challenging to analyze their beliefs, doesn't it? Because it puts into question, I mean, their life and their choices, and maybe it's too confronting for them to go back to real reality. You know, to feel like you have some sort of insider knowledge or some knowledge that others don't have that you need to wake them up to. I mean, you feel special, don't you? Or can give you a purpose, you know. Yeah, I wrote something down, and it's just a couple of the things that I wanted to mention about, I mean, examples of Mandela effects. It's interesting too, because the memes, the internet memes, they are different to the cultural memes of Dawkins' Genesis, because it's how sort of Harold Bloom, in his Anxiety of Influence, he was writing about the theory of poetry in 1973, and perhaps this has sparked something in Richard Dawkins, I don't know, but he was writing that you know, poets are their own worst enemy. They can be their own worst enemy, because in this urgent, desperate desire to be original, it can actually hinder their work. And I think sometimes though with internet memes, you know, people are desperate to be original. They want to be the funniest, they want the most views, and you know, it is unnatural selection. Anyway, why am I talking about those sort of memes, which are now sort of named MEEM? It's because I don't want you to mistake what I'm saying for internet memes and think, oh yes, it's the way we all pass around these things and it's a joke and everything. No, I mean, a meme can be important and it can be devastating. I mean, sure, internet memes, those sort of memes can influence people. They can make you laugh, they can make you think a certain way about things or a subject matter, and you know, they can be poison or they can just be harmless. But the cultural memes can save your life. I mean, you know, they can pass on information about hygiene, they can pass on information about you know, other beneficial things, life-saving things like skills, you know, probably like you know, the chimpanzees learning to put a stick down into an ant nest and bring it back up and eat the ants off the stick. You know, that's maybe not genetic the first time it's passed, at least. Maybe something like that gets locked in to a gene, like, you know, like a working dog will have that gene to want to herd. But, you know, it's a meme, it's a cultural meme, and it's beneficial. They're also desperately dangerous. Now, I'm not saying in all cases of religion, but generally religion could be thought of as a parasitical virus of the highest order, because in the same way that political memes can be a parasitical virus amongst humankind of the highest order. Yeah, so they're spread by imitation, they're spread by replication through culture, and the thing is, with technology, they spread very fast. Mandela Effect idea has come about because ideas go around the world so fast. False ideas go around the world so fast, and they get warped like Chinese whispers as well. You know how we all like to say, sorry, I'm yelling this whole time, and I'm not speaking in my quiet voice, am I? And it's just because for me, I can hear the roar of the city Riverway Express and the clanging of Queen's Wharf development and things like that. Sorry, I'll try and talk a little bit more calmly. So, in an example, for example, now growing up in the 70s, we always made the joke about it was Flipper, Skippy, Lassie. It could have been any of them. We made the joke, what's that, Skipper or Flipper? Who made a similar noise? Whatever it is. What's that, Flipper, Skippy, Lassie? Timmy's down the well. Why do we say this? We say this because it's just so beautifully I mean, it's a perfect device to express as a joke. It expresses ridiculousness at a dog or a dolphin or a kangaroo and a boy having such a connection, such this connection, this emotional connection is so dense that the boy can understand, or a human adult, can understand that what that animal is saying is that a boy whose name is Timmy is stuck down the well. It's just the stupidity of it. And this is why we say it in culture. It starts off as a joke. It may as well have been a mine shaft. It could have been, down the ravine. It could have been anywhere, but just so happens to have been a well. And that's what's stuck as people saying this from decades ago as a joke. Because on so many different levels it just tickles us, doesn't it? I guess we'd like to feel like we have these psychic connections. We'd like to think that these animals really want to communicate with us, that we can have these deep relationships to the point that we can interpret what they're saying even though it's another language, when in reality, obviously, what the animal is doing, if he hasn't already dragged someone to safety, is coming and just making an alert. It is still smart to know that, okay, I can't personally do something here, but a human being will. And I'll find a human being that I trust that will recognize me, that I can communicate with. Now, however thought processes in an animal's mind go, this is what they're doing. So they're running up and they're tugging on your sleeve, or they're barking loudly and then moving away a little and watching to see if you're following. This is communication. And the joke is that we'll say, what's that? He's stuck down a well, or what's that? He's trapped in a refrigerator. It could have been anything. This is just what we say, and then it spreads, and it's just gathering momentum now. First it would have spread culturally just through school, and then parents making the joke to their children, and now we've got the internet and things just go. And then people of today will go back and say, well, can we find the origin of that? Well, the origin is culture. It's just human culture. It's not that it happened in an exercise. It's like Luke, I am your father. If you want to quote Star Wars, when you're making one-off quotes, when you're stating quotes out of context, so when you've got I even off because sorry, I dropped you a couple of times. You know, when you're saying things out of context, so you don't have, you know, you're on the Death Star, this fight, which is, you know, trying to be a fight for not only for personal survival, but to save worlds. And there's conversation going on between two people, you know, with different scenes that have happened and a different series of speeches and interaction that's come before. If you say, no, I am your father, it just loses a little bit of impact unless you've got a real, no, I am your father. You know, which actually, if, you know, we'd stuck to just quoting it verbatim, I'm sure a whole lot of sick jokes could have come up about paternity with that. But no, instead we say, well, we know that Darth Vader is talking to Luke. And so we just say, Luke, I am your father. And it's misquoted even by the actor who played Darth Vader. No, I don't find that strange at all. I think it's perfectly understandable. People will swear that they heard it. Now, I went to Star Wars in 1981, or was it 79? Which one did I see for? Look, when I was a child, I saw all the original 3 movies, one after the other at the picture theatre. I was extremely lucky. And my first movie was Storm Boy. Yeah, that was awesome. With Robert Rakati, I think. But anywho, no, I am your father is what he says. And it's very easy to implant false memories. If the world seems like it is telling you the line used to be, Luke, I am your father, and now it's, no, I am your father, you're going to go, what the fuck? Unless you can just keep a rational mind about it and just take a deep breath and just realize it's okay. Sometimes you get a little false memory. Sometimes things are reported incorrectly and they go around as truth. This happens a lot. I mean, Forrest Gump producers even did it to themselves, because on some posters for Forrest Gump, you'll see it says, life is like a box of chocolates. But, you know, in the movie, whether or not Tom Hanks just flubbed the line, he says life was like a box of chocolates. Maybe just on the posters they just thought, well, it sounds better to say life is like a box of chocolates. And that's what people repeat, and so they would swear black and blue that they heard life is like a box of chocolates. Technology, you know, with Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, email, television even. It began with television and it's just taken off since. The way information, misinformation, misfact, misquote, ideas, whether they are meant with a pure intention or if they are with an evil, disturbing, sinister intention, are around the world in 80 seconds. And truth takes a long time to catch up, and not many people are going to spend weeks and months actually researching. What they're going to listen to are the easy obtainable things, other people's beliefs and assumptions that you know, solidify their beliefs and their misapprehensions about life. You know, I can tell you now, as a child, we joked about all sorts of things. It wasn't just that Timmy was down a well. We made up all sorts of jokes. But, you know, somehow Timmy down the well, I mean, it's just funny. It's just simple. It's a device, okay? It's a communication device to use expressions like that, and that's all it is. So I'm sorry if, you know, my views on this upset people, but the reason why I feel so strongly about it is because we've got to remember that this is not always harmless, and that human culture, you know, you've got the primordial soup or the primeval soup, you know, that genes have developed and sprung in, and now, you know, we've got this human soup, and we need to be very, very careful what comes out of this human soup, and remember that our beliefs, our strength, our resilience, our ability to negotiate the world, to have strong beliefs in humanity, in our earth, in our birth, life and death. We need to be able to pass on genetically and via meme strength of mind, yes, the ability to dream, but the ability to not get sidetracked by nightmares. Technology has advanced way beyond what you and I, regular pleb animals, know of. I mean, that's for sure. So we don't know what our future holds. But still, at the end of the day, just for now, we're living this very physical existence. We need to be able to trust our own minds, our own memories, and we don't need to give people a tool to abuse us, to manipulate us. It's hard enough already with everything that's going on to try and make sense of the political landscape, of our spiritual confusion, and, you know, and where our futures are heading. You know, this is difficult enough as it is without people trying to weaken you through pretending to manipulate your past. You need to say, I value my past is mine. What happened in the world as I have come through it is valuable, essential. I'm going to respect it, nurture it, and I'm not going to let people fuck with it. Okay, Nelson Mandela. Okay, when I was 10 years old, this is obviously such a different era, isn't it? But oh, look, it's so hot. My hair is clean all the time, everyone, just it doesn't look it. Halt all racist tours. Heart was a group in New Zealand who fought against the Springbok tour. We didn't want a country who had a way of life called apartheid. Black, white. Black drink out of one water fountain, white drink out of another. Black go to one school, white to another, etc. Okay? 10 years old, and I am going through the streets of my hometown, another river city, knocking on people's doors, giving out this little pink slip of paper, and it had information about heart, and the Springbok tour, and that we should boycott it. I think I'm going to run out of time, I don't know. This is 30 minutes. This might be on a second upload. Halt all racist tours. Now, we didn't stop the whole tour, but we stopped one game, which I guess is disappointing really. We stopped the Hamilton game. But I felt strongly about it, and I was 10 years old. And so Nelson Mandela is part of my young little white girl history, okay? And it's not just because I remember the song. Free Nelson Mandela. Are you so blind that you cannot see? Are you so deaf that you cannot hear? You're so dumb that you cannot speak. I said, free Nelson Mandela. Sorry. And then we'd say, in every packet of cornflakes. I know for a fact he didn't die in prison. There was probably some other freedom fighters that died in prison. Look, you could also call Nelson Mandela a murderer, okay? But he came out of prison. He did not die in jail, and in fact, he became the president. You know, it's just ludicrous for people to say, "Well, but I remember Nelson Mandela dying." There's been many things that have been found that could have started the seed. There have been essays written by people as exercises. Let's just say Nelson Mandela died in prison, then what? Things like that, and that helps spread the misinformation. And this is the thing, it's like Chinese whispers, and it goes around the world and people believe it to be fact. And you can plant false memories like that, and it's a sad thing, but it happens. It's not always happening because people want to do it maliciously, but why it's important to speak up against these things and try and be rational is because they are a tool. It is a tool for manipulation. It is a tool to make people set against their fellow man. It is a tool to make you very frightened of everything you hear and see, and to not be able to trust your own judgment or not be able to trust anything. I mean, the deep fakes certainly play into this, you know, so try to stand your ground.